What's up, Beatbox nerds? Welcome to Nerdfest 2024. I'm your also fellow nerd, not a beatbox nerd, maybe, but definitely a music nerd. I don't think I'm a music snob. Maybe I am, I don't know. So many things are happening that you don't need to know about. I'm on 4 hours of sleep. It is 9:50 p.m. here on the East Coast in the wonderful state of Georgia. If it's wonderful, that's up to you to decide. I was very fatigued, so I decided caffeine was the answer. And now it's 9:50 and I had too much caffeine, so I thought the way to cut the caffeine was to put a little vodka in my system. I'm realizing I basically just did vodka and Red Bull, but without the soda. It's just like caffeine and vodka, and I'm still sleep deprived, but I'm excited, and my shirt says all these flavors, and you choose to be salty. I wasn't sure if I was familiar with the song Faded, so I looked it up. Starts off, it's in French. Didn't bother translating it. I assume it says something meaningful. And then I hit play on this video to make sure that it works. You gotta test the sounds and everything. And so immediately in the first I only heard 2 seconds. In the first 2 seconds, it sounded like the other songs. Sounds like they do. So, I don't know. We're gonna talk about whatever we talk about. Probably talk too much. Caffeine and alcohol will do that. Plus I talk too much in general, and I love music. And somebody on one of my videos said, dude, shut up. It's like, bro, do you even know what channel you're on? That is not even a remote possibility. ZHU. But I imagine this Chinese is probably Chu. Okay, I got a complaint that all the foreign languages, when they write in the English transliteration, I think transliteration is the correct word. Transliterate is when you try to recreate sounds in the native tongue in a different script. Why is there a different one for everything? So like Japanese is different than Chinese is different than Korean is different than Polish? Polish has its own set of writing English characters for Polish sounds. Let's go. Okay. They're impeccably dressed. I am a distant third. Okay, something about the rhythm. I mean, it's basically the same as the other song. I just didn't really pay attention that much to the other song. Am I crazy? Even though it's like a keyboard sound, it's kind of acting like a percussive element, like a pitched percussion, like a xylophone or something. It's, it's actual pitches you can sing, hence pitched, but the shortness, the staccato-ness, the duration of the notes is very boop, 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 boop. It's like a da 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 da. It intrigues me when musical elements have like multiple aspects of what they're doing. So we've got a melody, but it feels like percussion. It's like 2 drummers, but one of them is a keyboardist. Oh! Guitarist is throwing in some extra, he's doing this extra snare on there. So he is throwing in some extra percussion. So there is 2 drummers.
Hey, babe, I'm wasted. All I wanna do is drive home to you, baby. I'm wasted.
Call it out as I see it, man. I think the first thing I'm noticing, other than the very clean sound, is the volume. The volume between the 2 performers is perfect. And I think if you could get like a raw stem or something of these guys doing it separately, if you were to adjust the volumes and make one significantly louder than the other, I think it would not be anywhere near as cool. I think the volume, the mixing between the two of them is... Try it with the wrong volume. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Hey, babe, I'm wasted. All I wanna do is drive home to you, baby. I'm wasted. All I wanna do is take you downtown, baby. I'm wasted. All I wanna do is drive home to you, baby. I'm wasted.
Dude, how is he making it so raspy? How is he making it so raspy? Oh, also, in case you're curious, well, it doesn't matter if you're curious. I'm going to tell you anyways. On a couple of the videos I've done with Taurus already, I've checked in the analytics, and one thing has stood out. Most standard out. The thing that is most standardish out of the data is 8 to 9% of the people watching my reaction video are women. What's astounding about that is almost all of the other beatbox videos I've ever done are 100% men. Some are 99% men. His videos that I've done have an 8x increase. I don't know if that's the correct math, but roughly 800% increase in the amount of women watching the videos. That's crazy. You gotta pay attention to something like that. Oh, hold on. That little... I gotta hear something. Back up further.
All I wanna do is take you downtown, baby.
I was checking the reverb of the... to see if it lined up with the rest of the reverbs. I think it kind of does. Well, let's just nerd out. We're all nerds here. So let's check out Improver's bass. I heard him change the timbre there. I don't know if I went back far enough. So I think he changed his timbre to make like one of the da-da-da-da-da, like one of the little 4-note phrases. He made it more trebly to get a little contrast. I think I backed up far. Fuck it, let's back up further. Right there. We're at 53 seconds, so it must have happened at 52. Let's back up again. So now we got like 9 seconds, 8 seconds till it happens. But for just do-do-do, I don't know if it's da-da-da or da-da-da-da-da, but for just like 2 seconds, Improver changes it to, instead of wah, 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 he goes wow, 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 wow. Right there. No, 2 measures. He did 2 measures of a tonal shift, timbre shift. He moved his EQ slider to the treble side. That's dope. I like that attention to detail. They're the performers, but they're also the directors. They have to have the you know, they have to know what they're shooting sonically.
All I wanna do is drive home to you, baby. I'm wasted. All I wanna do is take you down.
If that is just them, that is a freakishly good harmony. That's stupid good.
All I wanna do is take you down.
sounds like they're singing their thirds or sixes, which I don't know if you've ever messed around with harmony. But obviously your octaves, fourths and fifths, well, that's not the order. You probably go octaves first, then fifths, then fourths, then thirds, then sixths. So there's usually a lot of rub on thirds, and getting them to be actually in a nice harmony can be really challenging, just as a performer. Thirds are less forgiving to me. As a string player, I think thirds are less forgiving than fourths and fifths and octaves. And as you start going down the scale, what would we say after that? So we did the octave, fifth, the fourth, thirds and sixes, which thirds and sixes are inversions of each other. The fourths and fifths are inversions of each other. The octave we don't need to invert because it's already an octave. What would come below that? Seconds? Seconds and sevenths? I think that's everything, right? Octaves are 1 and 8. Sevens are 2 and 7. Thirds are 3 and 6. And fourths are 4 and 5th. So that's all of them. Yeah, so I would put seconds, ninths, seconds and sevenths at the bottom of like, now we're getting to really tricky territory. So that's yes, I know everybody plays thirds and sixths, but to actually do them well with somebody else it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
I'm wasted. All I wanna do is take you down, baby.
Oh, what? Also, Improver's doing this thing that I noticed Taurus doing, Taurus, on one of the other videos. And I wasn't saying that Taurus invented it, just the way he approached it, I think was really nice. On the basses, going from 0 to 100 immediately, hitting the bass dead on, and not swelling through it. And not wah, but just wah, just hit it. Hit it and go. No crescendo into it. No DK out of it, just smack it and go, wow, wow, wow. Oh, also with the vibrato. Some of you are gonna love this video, and some of you guys are gonna hate it. So vibrato, right, is altering a pitch. So now, as you get into lower frequencies, having some type of wiggle in your vibrato, it gets really hard to keep the pitch correct because the frequencies are so low, the oscillations are so large. And Improver's got a little bit of wiggle in his bass, but he's still holding the pitch. Also, Improver is not doing any of that stuff that Tars is doing, and I'm making it funny so you can kind of like picture it in your head. It's keeping them out of each other's sonic area. If they both get really focused, it actually would lose focus. It would lose clarity between the parts. So having one person being like wide and someone being direct actually keeps the independence of the performance. When you're playing by yourself, you can get away with a lot of things because you're alone. You're not fighting with anyone sonically. When you start becoming a member of a duo or a trio or a quartet or whatever you're in, if you all sound too much the same, you just sound like one thing, or it just sounds muddy. So you need a little bit of individuality in how you approach the notes you're playing in order to keep the separation in the mix. Obviously, it could be done in post-production, but I don't think they're doing that much in post-production. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. I don't know. That little top little. Fire. Dude, that's fucking awesome.
А музыку включи, но не против.
There's so much. Hold on, you. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff in there. Like as far as an arranging perspective and a composing perspective and a performance. There's so many different levels of cool things going on there that if you were interested, I'm not gonna make a video on any of it. I mean, you can go find someone else who's an fucking world-renowned expert who could tell you. But there is a huge, okay, obviously the arrangement's dope, the beatbox is dope, the sounds they're making and the quality of the sounds they're making, top notch. But assuming you already have that, there are decisions you have to make when you are recording music with somebody as to how together do you want to sound and how far apart do you want to sound. You still want it to be cohesive, right? You still, when you think of like your famous bands or famous DJs who play together, you think of it as a collective sound. But there is an element of thinking about how much do you want to blend and how much do you want to be distinctive. And a lot of times, I feel, I've seen it. I've seen it thousands of times. Bro, I went to music school. I saw a bazillion concerts I didn't want to go to. They make you go to concerts. I didn't want to go. They made me go. When people blend real hard, it does the opposite. They don't actually blend. It's too much of the same, and it becomes this weird thing. You might as well be individuals, or I don't know, like the best example I can say is a string section like violins. So you got 15 violinists on stage at a orchestral symphony thing. Now, when you're playing an orchestral thing and there's like basic parts being done, it's really written for a violin, but you have 15 violinists. So you make them all blend together so they sound like one really large violin. They don't need to sound distinctive because their distinctiveness is that they're playing violin. The cellos blend together, the basses blend together, the violas, and you got your horns, although usually, there's not that many. You don't have 15 trumpet players. However, if you're listening to a duet of two violinists, you don't want them to sound the same because they have individual parts that are, this sounds sillily obvious, independent. The music is independent of each other. And they need to sound different when they play, so that way the music has its independence. You can easily tell what one person is doing versus another person. And they're complementing each other through their independence. So even though they're working together to make a collective whole as a duet on this piece, there needs to be an attention to detail of performing each person's parts sonically different. Not timing so much, probably still roughly come in on time. Although still, coming slightly off time is better because you don't want everything hitting right on the exact time. But humans don't have to worry about that because when you think you're coming right on time, there's still a couple of milliseconds that you're off, and there's enough distinction that you can hear the pow of someone coming in. But you want the timbre, the EQ, the tone of what you're doing to be slightly different than what the other person's doing. And it lets you blend, but also remain independent, which then brings up all these cool questions of, well, what's the best sound? Well, there can't be a best sound, because if there was a best sound and you had two professionals, they would both choose to do the best sound. But then if they're both doing the best sound, there's no independence because they're both doing the same thing. So you have to kind of come up with what are 2, 3, 4, 5 of the best sounds I can use, and then you two as the performers work out, well, you'll do sound number 1, I'll do sound number 2, and we will maintain our independence without compromising quality. I would say Google it, but I don't know how you're going to Google that. I'm out.